here. My name is Robin Grantham. I'm with the Southwest Florida Water Management District. I want to start by saying thank you so much to the Harbor National Estuary Program for having me out here today. I am just incredibly honored. I'm really, really proud because I'm with the Southwest Florida Water Management District, and we have done so much cooperative work here at Archbold Biological Station. It's just been a really great partnership. I wish I could have been here earlier for the tours, but it was a 4-hour hike for me to get down here, but that shows how important this presentation is for me today. And I did want to kind of link the beginning of my presentation out off of Miss Cindy's talking about volunteers. We actually recently had our district-wide employee survey that was done. We have more than 800 employees at the district. On that survey, we had 12 different options to rank what was the most important thing that you loved about where you worked. We're a government agency. It could have been paid time off, leave, benefits, health care, flexibility with time management from your boss. The number one reason why people said they want to work where I work, and I'm so proud of this, is because of passion. We're passionate for what we do. And that's also what makes great volunteers, are people that have passion. And when you volunteer for an association or an organization with passionate employees, it's just going to make a bigger, stronger, holistic community. So volunteers are very important in what we do. So I am going to tell you a little bit about the Water Management District. You might not know who SWIFMA is or what we do or why we should be passionate about our jobs. In 1960, there was a great big hurricane that hit the state of Florida called Hurricane Donna. When Miss Donna came through, she did a lot of destruction. Basically, at that point in time, there wasn't a lot of permit or regulation when new developments came in as to a hurricane comes through, where's that water going to flow through? Guess what? We just built a whole bunch of freeways. We took away that permeable soil so that water's got nowhere to go. Because of that, the hurricane did a lot more damage than what it really needed to do. So in 1961, by a special vote of legislature, they created 5 different water management districts. This was basically a pilot project, like a national pilot project to have water management districts. We won all kinds of awards. We're really proud of this. So in 1961, Southwest Florida Water Management District came to be, as well as the other 5. This is where we're at. We cover 16 counties, 10,000 square miles, just over 4.5 million people. Initially, flood protection. By 1972, though, now all of a sudden our areas of responsibility, they have increased. So today, these are the 4 things, 4 areas of responsibility, or 4 core missions that the people that I work with, we're passionate about protecting and managing for all of our residents. We've got water supply. That can be anything from residential irrigation, golf course irrigation, desalination plants, reservoirs, anything that you can imagine that deals with fresh water drinking supply. Like I mentioned before, we've got flood protection. With that, you've got dams. We control all the dams within our 16 counties electronically. It is so cool to sit there and get to open and close a dam at your office. They let me do that one day. It was really exciting. So we've got flood protection through that. Also, if a new development is coming in, for instance, like Pasco County, they're going to be building 15,000 new homes. Think about all the concrete that goes down with that. What we do with flood protection is we make sure that they're building their retention ponds, detention ponds, that water has a place to go if you have those once permeable areas. Permeable meaning that water can filter through the soil. Those areas that water used to be able to filter through, it can't filter through anymore. So you got to figure out where it's going to go. We also look at water quality. This is anything from all of our springs in Florida. I'm sure you've heard all over the news, is that throughout the state of Florida, the springs aren't what they used to be. And I'm sorry, it's because people move in. Economies change. But springs aren't what they used to be, but I'm very also proud to say that within our water management districts, we have the healthiest springs within the state. Doesn't mean they're perfect, but they're still a lot healthier than some of the others out there. Natural systems, we own about 490,000 acres of wetland areas. The reason why we own that land is those are areas that are very susceptible if there's rainfall to replenish that aquifer. So we want to make sure that those areas are specifically selected so that way new development is not going to occur there. So here is one thing about Archbold Biological Station that's very cool. What we do with water quality and water supply is we do groundwater monitoring. The way we do that are through wells. Throughout our district, you might be thinking of water supply wells, like what you get your drinking water from. Our wells are water monitoring wells. There's thousands of these just for our 16 counties alone. 4 of these wells are located here at Archbold Biological Station. Unfortunately, I didn't make the tour this morning.
I don't think they went to the Memphis.
I'm sorry?
I don't think they went to those wells.
Okay, they didn't go to the wells. Hillary and I have worked together a lot on various projects, which I'm going to brag more about in a little bit, because that's just what I do. But here we go. Right here at Archbold Biological Station, we do have 4 different wells. What they do is we sit on top of an aquifer. Aquifer meaning that it's limestone. Limestone or rainfall in Florida is a little bit acidic. So when that acidic water hits the limestone, it helps to deteriorate it a little bit, which makes it really porous. So that way when it rains, it fills up these cavities with water, and that's where we get the majority of our drinking water from. So here, this is the ROMP 14 station, where we've got 4 wells. One of the wells, what that does is it looks at the water elevation, the level of water, and that one reaches to the superficial aquifer system. It also monitors the water quality. We've got another one here that goes to the Arcadia or intermediate aquifer system, and we've got 2 more wells here that go to the Florida aquifer system. This data is sent to the district every single week. We're constantly monitoring water quality and water supply on the aquifer level. And this is thousands throughout the state. This is our water management information system. It's at watermatters.org. It takes all the data. This is the data. I just pulled this up this morning before I left. And this is all the way from December 23rd of last year, 1 year's worth of data. Now think about being able to get this information from thousands of wells.
This is one of the wettest we've ever been, so our groundwater levels are incredibly high at the minute.
We've gotten a lot of rainfall. Everything is looking really great for lake levels across all 16 counties. We're very happy here right now. Let's see here. So that's a little bit about who the district, or what we do here, some of the stuff that we've done at Archbold. Now on to, why does water supply matter so much? What's so important about it? If we pump out too much water out of that aquifer, that's going to dry out our wetlands. Those are ecosystems in and of themselves. Going to lower lake levels. If you look at this economically, fishermen, they need some nice, healthy lake levels. Our economy does matter. Reduces spring flows. Again, we've got tourism. Increases occurrence of sinkholes. You might remember, I'm not sure if it's 2008 or 2009, we got hit by a whole bunch of sinkholes here in Florida. What happened there? That was all about groundwater depletion. That was called in February. You got a lot of farmers, in order to make sure that their strawberries and their produce survived the freezes, they would water their crop at night. They would put a thermal blanket over that produce. That prevents it from freezing at night. Well, when you get an unprecedented 14 days straight of freezing, that pumps too much water out of the aquifer. All of a sudden, that limestone's got holes in it, it collapses. So we've got increases in sinkholes, and it impairs water quality from saltwater intrusion. Basically, on those coastland areas, more salt water is going to mix in with the fresh water. And I'm talking too fast or too much. Just someone tell me to go sit down. All right, so water supply. This is one of the programs that I manage for the district. This deals directly with water supply as it relates to new building and new development. This is the Florida Water Star program. It's completely voluntary. It's a certification program. This is for new and existing. It can be a residential home or commercial development, or it can even be a university campus, which I've done. It encourages water efficiency inside the household appliances and fixtures, outside and irrigation system design, and landscape design. There are numerous components of this program, so I'm going to go over some of the basics. You might recall that my presentation is really about how you can save water inside and outside your home and how it benefits the community. Now we're going to kind of get into some of the things that you can do at your home to save water. But Florida Water Star, we're statewide, administered by all the 5 water management districts. Across the state, residential homes, we've got 1,700 homes certified, of which, if I don't say so myself, more than half are within my district alone. Commercially and institutional, we've got 17 of those. Of those 17, 10 are within our water management district. And then communities, there are 7 in the state and 6 are mine. There are 3 categories that we look at for water efficiency. You're going to look at the irrigation system design, landscape plant selection, and indoor water use. Now this is when I get to brag about Archbold Biological Station again here. Archbold, these were, out of those 17 in the state, Archbold were 2 of the very first that were certified commercial Florida Water Star. And this means things like, I'm sure you saw their gorgeous landscape out there. It's all natural, all native. And Hillary just mentioned to me that they recently received an award for your landscape. What was that again, Hillary?
We got the Florida Native Plant Society Landscape Award this year for commercial buildings.
Yay. That's amazing. Congratulations. So the district, not only are these 2 buildings certified, not only do we have the wells here at Archbold Biological Station, and this is also very dear and near to my heart. I worked with my coworker Melissa Mabe and Hillary. If you go through in the bathrooms, you see pool signs. Outside the buildings, there's signage throughout the entire property. We worked very closely with Hillary and her staff in the creation and funding of all of those signs. They've just done such excellent work here in educating the public about our water resources. But yes, these 2 are commercially certified by Florida Water Star Program. So what can you do at home to save water? Then you say, okay, I'm still good on time. To save water at home, here are some things that you can do inside. The key thing is looking at labels, believe it or not. The Environmental Protection Agency has made it very easy for homeowners to know what appliances and fixtures to buy or replace their current ones with. If you're looking at an appliance, like a clothes washer or dishwasher, you're going to look for a logo called Energy Star. It looks kind of like a water star. It's a big star on it. Needless to say, EPA was not happy with us when we came up with the Florida Water Star Program because they were going to do that, but we won. So, so here we go. You got your annual water savings. If you have a clothes washer, dishwasher that just meets state code versus the EPA standards, this is the water savings that you have, and then this is the annual monetary savings. And then for your toilets, you're going to be looking for the EPA's logo called Water Sense. And that's going to be toilet shower heads faucet that looks like a big water drop. Here you're going to go ahead and see again the gallons saved and the monetary dollar savings based on 2 people per household. The reason why you might notice that, let's see here, too many clickers. Like the monetary savings, like 1,200 gallons versus 3,000, that's about half the water used. But why on this one are you saving $180 and here you're only saving $9.70? Just to explain, it's because your clothes washer is using energy. To flush your toilet, you're not using any energy. And as you know, it costs a lot more money for your energy bill than it does for your water bill. So that's why there's the discrepancy there. I'm not wrong. That never happened. Just saying. No one's here to tell me otherwise, so I'm rolling with it. So also what you can do outside your home, this is an example of a Florida Water Star certified house. One of the biggest challenges for a builder or developer with Florida Water Star is them constantly saying that residents aren't going to like Florida-friendly landscaping. They're not going to want to have that happen. Residents want to have more turf. Well, guess what? This is on top of the world. This is a very high-end community in Ocala, Marion County. They've only got, look at that landscape. How much turf do you have? What do you think they have? Maybe 30% turf? Very minimal, and all of that is Florida-friendly landscaping right there. Bright, beautiful colors, and we're not actually limiting turf. We're limiting high-volume irrigation. They can have bahia there with no volume. You know, it's still turf. We don't care about that. We're concerned about how much water is being used. So right here, this is the key, the biggest challenge to Florida Water Star with building and development. So you as a homeowner, what we would ask you to do is if you've got a lot of turf area with high volume irrigation, is try to expand your plant beds a little bit. Other things you can look at in your home are how close to your building are your plants. State code says that plants and irrigation systems only need to be 1 foot away from the outside of the building. Aesthetically, obviously you're going to have more mold on the building, you're going to have termite issues. If you want to do any maintenance to your house, it's going to be more of a mess. As you can see here, this is a home that received Florida Water Star. We require that they're 2 feet away from the building. This builder actually went 3 feet out. That way that homeowner can keep it nice and clean. But what do you think is, someone tell me, if you have a guess, what's the water efficiency benefit of this? Why do we care about water efficiency? How does this relate? Basically, those eaves, those overhangs, they block out a lot of rainfall when it rains from the plants. They really do. And that's why if we say you go 2 to 3 feet out, you're not going to have to run that micro irrigation as often as you would otherwise. I already talked about reduced high volume irrigation. I got ahead of myself. My bad. But you got that part down. Oh, here we go. So I talked about high volume irrigation as turf grass. Micro irrigation is what's going to be used in plant beds. Micro irrigation, we're going to talk a little bit about what that is. Basically, micro irrigation is irrigation that uses half a gallon a minute or less, compared to high volume, which is going to be half a gallon or more. So not only when you look at this are you looking at reducing the amount of turf area or high volume, but here's an example of a typical drawing, cartoon version of it. So say this is a neighborhood. You've got different zones on your irrigation, meaning that each different zone can run different days of the week for different lengths of time. So say this is a homeowner, zone 1 here towards the front of their house where the driveway is, they might have zoysia or St. Augustine grass. That zone they might want to have run twice a week during the summer. Then here's zone 2, maybe they've got some grasses or some plant beds that's thirstier, and they might want to run those once every other week. And then zone 4, they're going to have Bahia grass, so maybe they don't really even irrigate that at all. And then zone 3, because they're near that water area, these might be some plants that are pretty drought tolerant. They're not going to need a lot of water. So that's the importance of hydrozoning. So when you're grouping your plants, look at how your irrigation system is set up. Try to put them in the zones together if your plants need more water in one area versus they need less. The things that you're going to look at when you're grouping your plants are going to be the soil type. How acidic is it? You can bring your soil sample to your local extension office, have that tested. See how big is it going to be at full maturity. And then also how much shade or sunlight are you going to have. And this is a great resource that you can go to. Unfortunately, it doesn't have an easy web link for it, so I just say Google Water-Wise Plant Database, because it's pretty awesome. This was created, unfortunately, not by me. St. John's River Water Management District. Here, this is what you open up to. You can just type in, if you don't know a common name or scientific name, let's say it's me, I know nothing about plants. But I know I want a plant that's going to have flowers. Hardiness zone, that's going to say like how humid it is down there, and you can just, if you're not sure what hardiness zone you are in, that's a hyperlink. Just click on that, it shows a little map. Put in your hardiness down, flowers, I don't care how big it's going to be, I want purple ones. It'll match my house better. My soil's pretty moist, and sunlight. So you just put in this random information, whatever you want more or less. This is what I put in for today. And it came up with 15 different examples of plants that meet that specific criteria. So what my husband gets to install for me is going to be the purple coneflower. But this is the Water-Wise Plant Database, and this is what we use for Florida Water Star, because we do have specific inspectors and certifiers that go out to the home. They look at every single plant and verify that it's going to meet the environment in which it's been placed or planted. We talked a little bit about micro-irrigation again. It is the most efficient form, not only because it's got a lower flow rate, but also because it's going to minimize weeds. There's going to be a lot less evaporation. Plants, they don't want water sprayed on top of the leaves as often. Some specific plants may, but most we want that water to go right to the root ball. If you've got a slope, it's going to minimize erosion from your slopes, and it's going to save you again that water and that money. Bubblers, this is what you're going to find on your trees. Inline drip tubing. Micro sprays or point source, that's typically what you're going to find along plants. A lot of builders really prefer to do micro sprays or point source because drip tubing, inline drip, is really good for like a solid ground cover. But if you've got individual plants, the micro sprays and point source are going to actually be more efficient for you. It really depends on what your plant bed looks like, the layout. Something else that you want to consider, who here has, well, I shouldn't say that. Is there anyone here who has an irrigation system at home? Okay, cool. All right. Because if you didn't have no one have an irrigation system, it would kind of be a waste of my breath. But if you do have an irrigation system for your high-volume irrigable areas like your turf grass, these are things that you're going to want to look for on your spray heads. You want to see the pressure regulated spray. You want to see the letters PRS. This is an example on Rainbird and an example on Hunter. Pressure regulated systems. I'm kind of merging two concepts in one here. I'm going to start by explaining head-to-head coverage. The way that irrigation systems are designed are so that one spray head should reach all the way over to the adjacent one. They should patch, just like this. This is the good stuff. This is what we want to see. This is the bad. If they're not touching, what do you think happens here? You're having one part in the middle, getting twice as much water is what happens over here. And so what pressure regulation does is it makes sure most irrigation systems should be running on 40 psi. What that does is all the way down the line, it makes sure no matter how far away from the hedge you go, you're still going to get that 40 psi. If you've got too little pressure on one, the droplets are going to be too big, so they're not going to stretch as far as you want them to. If you've got too much pressure, not only is it going to shoot over, droplets are smaller, you're going to have more evaporation, more loss to wind. So you want that pressure regulation, so that way, if it is properly installed for head-to-head coverage, it's going to be nice and even. So a lot of times when I'm reviewing irrigation system plans from a builder, I'm actually going to be telling the builder not only pressure regulation, but I might be telling them to put in more irrigation heads for their high volume. Does anyone have a guess as to why I'd want to have more heads in there on a turf? From a water management perspective? Again, if you look at this for head-to-head coverage, the bad and the good. The bad, for uniformity, that's because they don't have enough heads in there. So I'm a homeowner. My irrigation system designer, they were cheap. They didn't put in as many heads as they should have. So now guess what I move in? I've got these brown spots. I see brown spots on my yard. I know nothing about irrigation. What am I going to do? I'm going to water it more. I'm going to think that water is going to move laterally and it's going to make my lawn greener. It's not. It's going to give me chinch bugs. It's going to give me more weeds, and it's going to still keep me with those brown spots. What we want to see is go ahead and put those extra heads in there. Because then if I'm a homeowner and all of a sudden my grass looks really nice, not perfectly even, you're never going to get perfect uniformity, but now all of a sudden I'm thinking, my lawn looks awesome. Maybe I don't have to water this week. Maybe I can skip this time. So that's the value of putting in more heads and having pressure regulation. Something else you can easily look for is, just like that PRS, you can look right at the head. It's super easy. That word check valve. Check valve, basically, if you've got your valve box, which is going to be on the side of your home, down from your valve box, if your heads are typically going to run lower than that valve box is, and gravity pulls water down. When something's pulled down, you get more pressure. Okay, so you got water pressure going down. You turn off your irrigation system, but all that pressure is built up in the line. So you can turn it off, but what you don't know is every time you turn that head off, you're losing 1 to 3 gallons of water. Take that times 8 heads. Take that times twice a week at 52 weeks a year. That's a lot of water loss. And this is, again, something, it is a cost increase, but it's only like $2 to make sure they've got a check valve. So if you get home, if you got irrigation, take a look at your heads. Do you have a PRS on there or the word check valve? Trying to go, I'm like, how am I doing? All right, I'm pretty good. Almost done. Checking your rain sensor. You got a rain sensor on your irrigation system. Super, super easy. Just turn your timer on to manual all stations. Not just manual one. It's got to say manual all stations. You should be able to look outside and see all your stations are running. Time you get a little bit wet, take that garden hose, spray it at your rain sensor. Within a minute or two, it should turn off. If it doesn't, it's because these little corks here in your rain sensor, what they're doing is they're set up at different inches. Like after a 1/4 inch of rain, you want it to shut off after 3/4. But these get corroded over time. A rain sensor's life is about 5 years. So if you haven't replaced this at all and it quits working, and also squirrels really love the taste of cork. So you can always pick up one of these. They're reasonably inexpensive. I believe it's under $10. You can actually just buy the corks at your hardware store. All right, I'm nearing the end, I promise. So here's another thing. If you don't have any trees in your yard, plant some trees. We all know trees are good for you. And they also, they lower evapotranspiration. So basically, you're going to have less water transpire out. We actually require, Florida Water Star has specific requirements. Step 1 is silver. They have to meet every single requirement. which is 30% shade, which on a residential lot, just throw in a nice, big, pretty live oak, and you're good to go. I forgot how to bouncy ball come in, that was exciting. Here we go, this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about what I don't know too much about at Archbold, so Hillary, please don't hesitate to interject here. Rain barrels and cisterns. I got an example here of a residential rain barrel that you could put in, but on a commercial level, did they talk about the cistern system here at Archbold at all on the field trip?
No.
All right.
Huh? We had 2 field trips. We talked about it on mine.
Okay, you did not hear us. I'll try to make that. You don't hesitate to interject then, okay? Basically, they decided to put in a cistern here at Archbold for 3 different reasons. To reduce stormwater runoff, which is that rainfall that would typically run off the roof down the road and collect debris and pollutants and bring it to nearby water bodies. So they're reducing stormwater runoff. They're also able to reduce the amount of groundwater that they're pumping out for uses such as laundry, toilets, etc. And they're also able to reduce chemical treatments because they can use that water they have an ultraviolet system here to treat the water, and it's also filtered in advance. So they don't have to use chemical treatments to flush their toilet by installing the cistern. If you look on all 4 corners of the building, there are clear tubes. Is that right?
There's clear downspouts.
Yeah, clear downspouts. Yep.
Yeah, where you sit down, you can see the water churning down.
Okay, cool. On all 4 corners, and they got their clear downspouts. That water collects in underground pipes. And then if you go, it's on the other side of this building here, underneath where the picnic tables are at. That's where the cistern is located. I don't know if they did
There's signage
see it. There's signage for it, but it holds like 5,500 gallons of water and collects 77,000 gallons of water a year. Just to put that in perspective, well, on their video they say 77,000 gallons is equivalent to 11 tanker trucks, but it's also equivalent to water savings of one of my residential homes, putting in all of these retrofit behaviors that we've discussed, plus some more. But I thought that I would highlight the cistern system that they have here. And then also, you can do something like that at home. If you're not familiar with rain barrels, again, I recommend your county extension office. If you wanted to see what kind of water savings that you can get through these kind of implementing these measures, if you're looking at just outside, if you look at a typical home of 6,000 square foot of landscape or permeable area, if you've got a traditional home with 80% high volume, 20% micro, compared to Florida Water Star at 60% high volume and 40% micro, just outside is 24,000 gallons of water a year, or $148. So this is why the district supports this program. If you have a home how they're traditionally built, meaning all state codes, they're compared to Florida Water Star, we're saving 31,000 gallons of water a year in just one house. The cost to a builder to build a Florida Water Star is $800. As a homeowner, your return on investment, you're saving $400 a year estimated. So within 2 years, you got your money back, and you're helping sustain our water, quality water supply for numerous years to come. Any questions? Oh, I didn't say that. Yes, ma'am.
The homeowners associations that were created, and I forget what the cutoff year is, they are grandfathered in, and they don't have to allow homeowners to put in water-conserving landscapes.
Drought-tolerant planting?
Yeah. Do you have any kind of strategies for homeowners who live in those HOAs so that they can put in less turf and more water-conserving plants?
All right, I know exactly what you're talking about. I did oversee the Florida Friendly Landscaping Program for the district for many years. What I would do is, you've got my email address. Well, oh, she made it go away. You can email me. It's robin.grantham@watermatters.org, or come see me. I have cards. But who I'm going to refer you to is going to be Dr. Essen Moldel. She's with the University of Florida. She oversees that whole program. What you're referring to is Senate Bill 2080, and she's going to be able to give you great guidance. So she's going to be your best point of contact, and I'll email her and copy you and give you a nice overview of it. That's her area of expertise. I don't want to overstep my bounds. Yes, ma'am?
In the gated community, some of them won't allow rain barrels, just as an FYI, which is unfortunate.
is as part of, one of the things that we can do to get certified?
Well, I've got two things to address on there. Number one, with the homeowners association that don't allow rain barrels, what you can do is if you want to try to work with your association to kind of enlighten them in the fact that some of these neighborhoods, they want to make sure it looks really pretty and aesthetically pleasing, and they have those as options. For instance, I showed you that home out on top of the world where it had that beautiful landscaping. They were a challenge to get into Florida Water Star. But by the end of it, now they allow rain barrels on all of their homes, but they're really beautiful. They look more like, Roman big jugs for water or something. But you can do that, and then, what was your other question?
Permeable pavers.
Yes, actually I had a building and development. One of the biggest challenges for a builder is that if they've got a very large corner lot, and that homeowner buys the largest lot and the smallest home, it costs them a lot more money to install more plants and stuff. So what they did is they surveyed their residents to find out if you had to reduce the amount of turf grass, what do you want there? Do you want Bahia grass? Do you want to have what they call an outdoor living space? Or do you want more plants? And the residents said they wanted an outdoor living space. So what they did is they built permeable patios. So it's a patio area that could not be covered and had to be permeable. So that is an option. It's just what we care about is reducing the high volume irrigation, and that was ultimately what that plan did.
So I'm going to call the questions. Are you going to be here for through the break?
Sure.
Okay, so if you have other questions, you can talk to Robin then. Thank you very much, Robin.